Hello and welcome back to Griffin Eye News. As always, I'm Maeve. And with me, I have my handy-dandy cameraman, the stabber of many things, spelled with an A, the peacemaker. Hello, Scal.
Oh, hello. How you doing?
Not too shabby. I see you are stabbing many things.
Well, you know, these cold winter nights, you have to keep busy, and it's time to, to work on the old embroidery while the snows are like piling outside the window and the winds are howling, and we're gonna get down to our last bit of pickles soon. But
where are you?
Well, it dropped below 30 degrees. Clearly, this means the depth of winter now.
And with us today, of course, we have a very snazzy person.
Is she more entertaining?
We have the shenanigan cadet, her ladyship Castra D'or.
The shenanigan cadet.
Yes.
Shenanigan cadet. According to Blue, I'm the good cadet.
You're the good one.
I question who else is a part of that then, but I believe we'll get to that later.
How are you two doing?
Oh, working on embroidery. You know, what you do, how you do.
You do.
He's stabbing things, as people do.
I'm stabbing things a lot,
Yeah, got to get it where you can these days.
I'm just gonna keep working on this and not acknowledge that statement happened.
Oh dear. Castra, could you tell us how long you've been playing in the SCA?
I've been 20 years this June.
Oh,
Clinton
wow.
2000 was my very first event, so kind of explains things for some.
That was a good event. I was
gonna say, for those who still remember Clinton,
awesome.
fond memories.
Back when site fee was a case of toilet paper.
It was a highly prized donation. It was, yes.
It's true and necessary. How did you get started in the SCA?
I will blame Jack on that one, actually. He hasn't been around for a while, but Jack Silver and the various crew of Traitors Gate were in the park, the bit of green that we call the Patch in Jasper, just in front of the info center.
Right.
And they were in full costume, swinging swords at each other. And I had two friends with me, and we were supposed to be going somewhere. Well, that wasn't happening because I was going over there.
Swords in the park.
Swords and costumes and like everything I've ever wanted in my life. So it was, what is this and how do I play? Was pretty much how it came across. But yeah. But Jack, or Roy Everest at the time, he ran the fencing club in Jasper. And he actually started as an Olympic fencing club. So in the winter we would do Olympic, and in the summer we would do SCA Renaissance.
Right.
And it just kind of took off from there.
Wow.
I grew up on a farm, so I harassed my parents for years that I wanted to learn how to fence, and they would just hand me a hammer and nails, and it was on a joke.
It's the same thing. It's totally the exact same thing.
Oh, here you go. What's your problem? Yeah, you suck.
So Castra, you've created some things over the year, and back in the old days when the lion reigned over us, remember those dark times. Way back when. You created a set of tarot cards for the Kingdom of Ontier.
I did.
What's up with that? What's up with making a tarot deck? Why not regular playing cards or like?
Actually, really simple answer to that is there was more cards in the tarot deck. I did them as so learning time. If you look back at the history of tarot, they were actually a trump deck for playing. And they didn't have as many in them as they do now, whatever, that's grown over the centuries. But rich families would hire artists to make these decks for them using their family portraits and heraldry.
Oh.
So this is literally a family portrait that I'm drawing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
Weird and geeky, eh?
and how many Ontier tarot decks are there?
There's just the one that I had done with 78 cards in it. And at the time when I finished it, I didn't have the money to get it printed on my own, and nobody was giving me money to do it, so it went into the vault. I did a little mini deck that a friend Denise actually has, and it's just kind of miniatures, again, all hand drawn.
Wow.
And she has that. So those are the only two of those in existence.
Wow.
So definitely a collector's item.
They're one of a kind.
As many of our viewers hopefully have seen, there's, I believe, a new set that you're working on for Avacal.
Avacal deck, that is true. And like I said, it's basically it's a family portrait. I can't go out and see everybody and annoy them in person, so I'll do it with my pens.
What better reason to put an insane amount of time into an artistic project?
Going to be another one-of-a-kind project, or is this going to be made more widely available? Or
I'm hoping to make it more widely available. I've actually we have more options these days. It's been 10 years since I did the last deck.
Yeah.
And there's actually some printing, card printing places online within Canada and the States. So I basically send them, they'll do tarot decks, custom decks. I just send them the photos of what I've done in that. And it's supposed to be, like, don't quote me, but at the moment it looks like they'll be anywhere from like $45 to $50 a deck. As long as I get like 60 decks done, so. But first, I'm going to finish drawing bloody things.
I mean, that would probably help, I feel like, in the process.
Do you have any examples with you there, Castra? Do you have any examples with you?
No, I am not at my place of residence, so I am lacking examples. But I do have been putting them up on the Avacal Facebook page. So as I've been doing them, they have been going up.
Are you still looking for models, or do you have it basically planned out?
No, I will keep taking photos. Literally, I kind of, you know, a photo will speak to me. You yourself ended up as the two of coins, even though that was more of the artisan strain. But I couldn't resist. The portrait I had of you had you juggling perfectly, so I had to use you there.
I remember seeing that. It's like, I don't think that was the picture I sent you, but okay.
Well, okay, well, the exact picture you sent was you holding up a placard for coronation or a shield, and I just went, well, I can use that.
Hey, just because you send her photo doesn't mean that that's the photo she'll use, and it doesn't mean that that's how she'll use the photo.
No, give me permission, I go running, like, ooh, look what that looks like.
How many roughly do you figure you have left to do then?
If I remember correctly, I have about 20 cards left to go, mostly the major arcana, and some of those are not people per se, so I'm kind of weighing my options, as it were. So we'll see how. Yeah, so I'm hoping September, October-ish I should be done. I'm hoping.
Well, Castra, you have a certain fame, or infamy, as it were, for another art, and that is something which me as a court herald is kind of we're in direct opposition here, as I like a nice, you know, together formal court.
Blind, by the way.
And you tend to like throwing grass at people, tying people to chairs.
No, it's never been thrown. It's been gently and specifically placed.
I made a bouquet on
And so can you tell us about sort of why would you want to, you know, ruin some poor court herald's, you know, performance?
Improve.
Enhance. Okay, in my defense, court was boring. No, I apologize, Artemisia, but court was boring, and because we couldn't hear anything.
No.
They have a very quiet, very soft-spoken court, and most of Avacal was asleep. At least I was awake.
Not wrong.
That's positive.
You know this is true. Oh, if I'm going down, everyone's coming with me, hun.
Right?
Okay.
But that's not the only time. That's something that was the lovely belt bouquet that
Yes.
ended up getting made. But
It was a
there's also been many times that there has been grass woven into someone's hair, or
Not always by me.
fair.
I suggested it, but I didn't do it.
You do not create it. You create it. You don't stir it or something like that.
I am simply the procurer of sticks, and I hand them out.
Fair.
That works.
So what I'm hearing is keep Castra entertained in court, or she'll make her own entertainment at court.
Unfortunately, yes. In court, I mean, this is a step up. For years, it was like, oh, it's time to have a shower. Okay. It's time, you know, at least I make the attempt now.
It's true. You can be found in court now.
Yes. And sometimes I enjoy it.
Well, it's always been my objective to try to be not putting people to sleep, but you know, that's me.
Fair.
I think I draw a fine line. I don't want to ruin court for those who do enjoy it. So I try to keep my noise and antics to the back and controlled. But
yeah, it is an art form to itself. The ability to create court mischief without creating court chaos.
Yes. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anyone. Just because I don't enjoy it doesn't mean I know others do. So I try to walk that line, you know.
I think you do it very, very well. I have a few papers with me. Just a couple.
Just a few.
Could you maybe tell us about this fantastic, amazing, incredible publication in my hands here?
It is fun.
I agree.
I'm glad you enjoy it. This would be, again, me trying to be a little more adult in my antics. And trying to, you know, if I'm going to disrupt things, maybe do it before court or whatever. I don't know. I really missed the publications like The Crier and everything that used to be on hand. There's a few other ones. I guess a few years ago there was one, I've been told, called The French Tickler or something that a few girls had put out. I haven't actually personally seen that one. I've heard good things. But if you look at our history in the SCA, like in the 80s and 90s especially, there were publications. Most kingdoms had a paper publication that had nothing to do with the official anything. Yeah. And it literally was just something fun. You could sit, you know, while you were waiting for court or, okay, because we never wait for anything in the SCA. Everything runs perfectly on time. So
not always on time.
That's our motto, always on time.
Always on time, right? But I personally missed the paper interaction. I don't know. Like, I mean, everything on computer beforehand was just, I don't enjoy it. Okay, I'm not great on technology, I will admit.
What? You, Castra?
That I tend to zap the crap out of it when I'm not even trying, but you know. I missed for me, part of the medieval experience is the prints, the broadsheets, the wanted posters, you know, the atmosphere. Yeah. So this was just me trying to add my own little atmosphere, and lo and behold, 5 years later, others seem to enjoy it, so I keep doing it.
So how did the first copy get started of Jester's Joust?
I will actually throw a friend under the bus because she was part of it. You remember Tarina, Cold Keep?
Yes.
I was actually at their place on the way to an event in BC some years ago. And she's heard me talk about doing this for years in some form or another. Right. And she actually has, in real life, she has a bachelor working on a master of English, has published poetry and whatever, and was like, well, we can do this. So that very first one that came out at our first crown, or cornet, sorry, our very first coronation, we literally did up in a day and a half at her place. And yeah, so for the first few publications, it was me and her, and then she's been busy with real life kid and the whole bit, so I've more and more taken over doing it, and I just keep trying to harass others that I know to, like, you know, submit things. And
Right.
yeah, you know, don't make me do this all on my own.
What sort of things are you looking for to get into the Jester's Joust? Like cartoons,
Yep.
doctoral theses?
Cartoons, opinion articles. The only limit I have is, yes, you can rant about something, but I don't want any names named. I don't want any nastiness. I want constructive criticism. Yes. So if you have something to say,
complain about Saxons in general, but we can't name like King Harold.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, your hubby comes home from the wars and has gotten kind of addicted to his Lance Connect, so he's raiding your closet. Like, bitch about that. Like,
there's also been, you know, love meet articles. People looking for love.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with those.
Misconnections, saw you in the list field.
Right. I believe there was also an Ask
Anise. Yes, that ran for a little while.
Yep.
I've been trying to bribe her with wine to write a few more, so we'll see how that goes. I'm working on it.
also a series of advertisements of real things.
They're actual ads. This is when I knew that I could keep doing this, is when people actually came and said, no, I will put an actual ad in your little doohickey. So
yeah. Speaking of ads, could you tell us a little bit about this specific one?
Oh, I don't know how they got in there. No. That would be me. I figured it's my paper. I can put my ad in.
What's the point of owning the paper if you can't advertise your own business?
Could you tell us a little bit about Forest Rendition?
Well, I've always grown and grown my own herbs and everything, and I've always made salves, medicinal, edible, whatever, right? I've always made salves, willow baskets, and all this stuff. A couple years ago, I actually started doing brooms. So, yeah, and they're practical as well as decorative, whatever you want to use them for. we've got a whole range of them now. So Hadis actually helps me out with that. Again,
nice.
Tech support.
So you're saying Hattie is kind of like a hero, eh?
What's that?
You're saying Hattie is a little bit of a hero or sidekick? Tech support?
I don't know what I'd do without her. Yeah, no, it's she handles the computer side of things and the advertising and helps with some of the harvesting and yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes.
So so onto the Jester's Joust a little bit here, onto because you have a fashion section, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, so the question that we're wondering here is, can you have too large of a feather in your hat? Is there that's just too obnoxiously large, or is there no limit?
Is there a limit?
You know who you're talking to, right? Like, I'm not good with limits.
Fair. You're good at zooming past them.
Limits are just challenges, man. They're just challenges to get.
So the biggest, most obnoxious peacock or ostrich feather, just do it?
Yep. Well, okay, there's sometimes, I did have a 6-foot peacock feather. It didn't make it to the event because it just got destroyed on the way in the vehicle.
Oh,
no. It worked so well.
That's like a peacock
So
feather
there may not
with
be
a full arm.
So there may not be actual limits so much as restrictions via vehicle or circumstances.
Transportation restrictions, yeah. How full is the cart? Does it tickle the horse? Did it kick it? Stuff, things.
I'm always concerned.
I do believe that you are part of a very prestigious select group, Blues Bells.
Oh, yes.
Could you tell us about that?
Okay, so when Blue got donned, it was 10, 12, okay, it was quite some years ago now. He picked up Ellisonus because they had discussed beforehand as a cadet. And then I got a bombardment of, so you said you'd be, we have a guest.
thought you'd be more at home with one of these.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Very true.
I do feel better.
Hi, Hattie.
it's
They
a
say
comfort right
hello.
here.
So he picked up me after 6 months of negotiation, which
Right.
was like some of the funnest time I've ever had. Back and forth negotiation. And then he had Megan and Tobias. And we figured he was just one of the girls. So just to harass Daddy, of course, I wrote.
Of course.
I was like, so hey, do you want us to cut? I had various names, some of
Right.
which I've already used up my one swear word, so I can't. He didn't like those. There was a book I had read many years ago, and Hell's Bells was in it, and I was just kind of like, Blues Bells, how's that? And he's like, I really like that, actually. So yeah, we all became Blues Bells.
Awesome. What were those negotiations like?
I quite enjoyed them. I think it was fun because it started with just, he sent a paragraph, like
Right.
quite a long paragraph. So I sent back 2. So he sent back 3. So I sent back 4. And then I don't even know what we talked about by the end of it. It was just, who can write more words?
That can be a challenge.
It's true. It's true. Never give Castra a challenge because she will. She will take it.
So,
Yeah, generally. Especially if
harkening back to a little earlier there, Castra, you mentioned a lost one of the lost shires of Avacal, Traitor's Gate. It seems to almost have a aura of mystery and epicness about it. What was it that made Traitor's Gate such an enduring symbol of Avacal that even on maps now, 15 years since that kind of pulled, it's still there?
Yeah. Okay, so we never were a Chief Shire status. There was some disagreement about our name being because it's based on a real place. We weren't willing to change it. We're kind of stubborn.
I know absolutely nothing about what you're talking about.
No stubborn at all.
No.
Yeah, we just it was quite the crew. There was, as I said, there was 6 of us, kind of the core.
Right.
And but there was never less than 10. And being so transient in Jasper or Traitor's Gate, we always had another 5 or 6 people just coming through at any given time, and it deserves its aura of mythos. It was I don't know if it's something that'll happen again, but it was sure a lot of fun when it did.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get to a lot of events, just being the nature of the town.
Yeah.
We all worked weekends generally. I mean, I had
Kinda
to
in
beg,
mountains.
borrow, steal to get a weekend off.
Yeah.
It got to the point where in the hotel I worked, I was the only person other than the manager who had holidays in the summer. And they used to ask me, where's the picture of the goat I caught the boss? Oops. Anyway, but yeah, I would just, it was literally, if we could get to 3 events a year, we were basically doing like amazing.
Really well. Yeah.
But we would average 1 or 2, but it was always different ones of us. So we'd go out, explore, experience, come back, teach all the others what we had learned. So we had a very specific fighting form.
Yeah.
Which some of us just haven't gotten rid of yet.
So
yeah, no, I sure miss that gang.
yeah. So in amongst all of your many travels, every shire thinks that you're from their shire. I've heard that you're from Borealis. I've heard that you're from Mountain Guard. I've heard that you're from Tirbanog. I'm pretty sure I've heard that you were from Cold Keep at one point. What do you call home? What shire are you willing to call home?
Kingsland, literally.
Yeah.
My technicality, my postal code does not actually belong in any of the shires or baronies. It's not been claimed by any of them. Borealis threatens and says that they can change that. I threaten back and say, so can I. I like being Kingsland. I like being the wanderer. It suits. I'm
So-
not sitting
so-
still anyway, so
Not wrong.
literally the address is where I pick up my mail.
Right. Right. Fair. That seems accurate. So stubbornly Kingsland.
Have sword will travel. Do you have a favorite? You know,
What's that?
do you have like a favorite place? Like, you
Where-
know,
Where do you like to spend a lot of your time? In-
Oh, this could get dangerous. Okay.
pick a side.
Um, let's see. Okay, well, I'm Avacal. Avacal all the way, even though I do own lands in Tiri. I only fight for them if, you know, Avacal refuses to pay. So that was first refusal. Couldn't pick. I'm okay, well, I'm a bit partial to Vinyar and Tirbanog, I will admit. I am quite partial to the two, but I like the road.
Mhm.
I like the road. And the different people. And you know what? Everyone likes you when you're not always there. So
So you could
fight
almost
with someone who's never where you left them.
so it's sort of like the road became your bride, and you've been stripped of all but pride.
Ah.
I know. Sorry. Moving onwards, you just got to get your Metallica out sometimes. So you talked about moving and being on the road. You have a sword will travel. So has this coalesced into a persona of sorts, or is Castra just ethereal?
No, I've always had the persona of Castra, and okay, the story. Okay.
Ooh, I like stories.
Story time.
Story time. So the loosely written persona that I had done was Castra was born in Ireland to a woman who was the town bike, to put it politely. Hard times, hard decisions. But I was the oldest of 12. And it became quite apparent that there weren't many options for women, job-wise, especially in medieval Ireland. So I stole my brother's clothes and got my butt on a ship as a ship's hand or a deckhand. And I was lucky in that when my gender was accidentally found out, I actually happened to be one of Grace O'Malley's ships. So it wasn't such a big deal.
Right.
They're used to taking orders from a woman.
Helpful.
And at the time I was using my brother's name,
Mm.
which has been lost in the mist. It's been so long ago, I don't even remember his name. But I picked up the moniker of Castra because, as in all places, doesn't matter how enlightened or used to they are of women being equal, there's always one jerk that's got to test the waters. And, well, he got to test the waters. Part of them did anyway. And Castra was born. So, and in my travels, I met up with the mercenary company of Traitors Gate, for whom I was a Feldwebel, or sergeant of, or Feldwebel,
Right.
of their ranks, and trained the newbies and took them onto various land wars where we were paid for our efforts. And yeah, since then I've basically been a free sword, because Traitors Gate, I run into the odd one of them every once in a while, but we're not so much an organized band anymore as a bunch of loose ruffians. So
Right.
so yeah, so my accent wanders, my persona wanders. Somewhere along the way, I was adopted by a French family where I picked up the name of Rapin de Glemse, which is my official name that I never use.
I learned something new already.
Yep. But yeah, no, the heralds enjoyed that one because the Lapin is actually a name, and it means to rape, loot, and pillage. But you know, it's an actual French name. Well, with Castra.
Descriptive.
Perfect.
Descriptive.
Absolutely perfect.
I mean,
if you
some
look
people
at
go by
Old French,
Smith, but
if you look at Old French, D'or, and they still use the Latin word for fort or home or house, which was Castra.
Right.
So I'm repping the Clemce of Castra D'or.
Perfect.
My name. I had a very good herald.
Excellent. Good to know.
Yeah.
So there's one thing that you were very well known for in the SDA, and that is your wonderful musical laugh. You can be found by that anywhere. Is
Cackle.
that is
Just
that
call it what it is.
is that the reason for the name of the cackling cabin?
Probably because I didn't actually name it.
Oh.
Yeah, I started building it some years ago out at Tirbanog on the fog site. And Wolfert keeps a running picture journal of the progress of the site and all the new things and that. And I've taken a picture of the start of it, and it's Castra's cabin for now, and it's stories say that there's a witch back there and she'll steal things, and it was actually just to keep people away from the smuggling operation that Castra was.
I see.
But when he showed me the book, he had written Castra's Cackling Cabin in it. And then he was like, is this okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Excellent. How goes the cackling cabin?
I actually have rafters, post rafters and beams, and a door. So
Door.
No, I have a door. And I have an outer kind of bailey wall around it that's half covered in moss that is growing quite happily. So progress. I have been making progress.
Excellent.
Yes.
I believe that's not actually the only plot of land that you have, is it?
Not.
I believe you have a small plot of land elsewhere as well.
Yes, I do have a bit of a corner of a swamp out at Redfield. Fine, and I like it. I am frankly quite spoiled in the in my friends and in the SEA and stuff like that. So I don't mind. I don't have anything permanently built there. It is in the plans. Things were a little flooded this last year and a half. So yeah. So
now we recently saw some adventures of you and Sergeant Carey. So why did Sergeant Carey go to the fog site?
I've been trying to get rid of that thing. I swear to God, I have.
Like a bad penny, he just keeps turning up.
He does. He's like a bad penny, man. Vinfest last year, he somehow ended up in my possession, which was okay. It was amusing. I kept placing him in the king's bed, which didn't go over quite so well. But he kept appearing in my hands again, but so I had actually managed to pawn him off on someone else, and he actually hung out in the back of Nishida's van, glued to her back window for a while.
Sort of Garfield style.
I thought she would, honor the game and pass him on. Yeah, she brought him back to me.
Yeah.
So I was heading out to Fog for a couple weeks to go work on things, and yeah, Hattie was like, "Oh, this is too good to pass up." So we started posing him, and
I did enjoy his adventures.
Does Sergeant Carey approve of his adventures?
I think so. He did comment on them quite a bit.
I didn't hear any complaints from him.
No,
He's a very polite guy.
He got to sleep in one day in the nice comfy in bed, and he made his pancakes another day, and
Oh, nice.
got to hang out at the wine shop. I don't think anyone could complain about that.
No, not Wilford's wine shop anyways.
Sounds like a good place to hang out.
It's a pretty good place to hang out. Wilford makes many, many wines. I have tasted them all.
So good. I think I still have some downstairs. Anyway.
I have a couple here.
So you clearly do beautiful pieces of artistry in the SDA. What other hobbies do you have in the SDA besides drawing and that kind of thing?
Okay, this is where things get interesting, because I don't always bring them to the SCA.
Right.
I usually, there's something I do at home just in my regular life.
Right.
Ones that actually do cross over is sewing. I actually make all my own garb. Frankly, because no one would make my garb for me. They didn't like, they bulked. Too much color. Too much, you know.
I disagree.
Very bright. Very
Which is why I
bright.
ended up. And I've sewed garb for. I've sewed garb for a lot of people. There's not many people in the kingdom that aren't wearing or owning a piece of garb that I have made. And
You're looking for commission?
I actually sew for Galena's Closet. I do
Nice.
for stock pieces. So I pretty much garbed everyone. So other than sewing, I also do leather work. I make shoes, belts, things like that. Pouches, you know, the usual. I have a almost fully medieval herb garden, which is where I get all the ingredients I do for the salves and dyes and stuff like that. I dye wool. It's a little out of hand.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I think there's a shorter list of what don't you do.
I mean,
It-
really.
It probably is actually. Yeah, like short list of what I don't do is heavy, but that might change. I've been picking pieces. I've been inheriting things. So, well, I marshaled at Ducal War last year, and frankly, I got beaten up more than some of the other fighters. So it's kind of like, might as well be on the field.
That way you can hit back.
I believe you
Exactly.
mentioned something. I believe you mentioned something before the interview started about bottling mead.
Oh, of course, how could I forget? I brew massive amounts of mead.
Massive amounts.
I do. It just doesn't get very far because I have a standing list of people that are like, what's the new flavor? And I'm first. And yes, one of them is sitting over here actually. I've taken over the basement at home. So funny enough, one of my biggest customers is Amp Guard. They call themselves SCA Light. They're a fun group. But they like the mead. They almost ran me over the first time I brought out a case. Literally all I saw was people and money flying at me. It was just like, what the hell?
Amazing. So you mentioned you might be trying heavy. Is there anything else in the SCA in your many years that you haven't done yet that you still want to do?
I've quite happy fighting rapier and longsword. I've done thrown weapons. I quite enjoy it. I like shooting archery, but generally only out at fog sight because I don't know. I have the time. I always find I don't have the time when I'm at home. Things get in the way. I love doing all the ANS and arts and science and research and stuff things. I don't actually enjoy entering the competitions. Nothing against anyone involved in them. I can't sit there. I'm one of those who's like, oh yeah, I have something, and I'll drop it and like run away because I've got, I'm over there.
I don't think I often see you stand or sit still, to be honest.
No, I'm generally hyped up on sugar and trying to run it off at events. So Lou has often called us girls his sugar-fueled service monkeys. So
Sugar-fueled service monkey. That definitely sounds like a motto or something needs to end up on a banner somewhere.
He often throws bags of nibs and candy at us just to keep us going.
Smart.
That is a good Dawn that throws candy at you.
One of the best.
Right?
Tell me I'm wrong, I'll fight you. He's one of the best. I can't think of anything offhand.
Right. I believe that brings us to my favorite question of the night.
Okay.
Do you have any favorite moments or memories you'd like to share with us?
Now remember, PG-13. For that time, we can't talk about that.
There are so many. No,
Not that
I
one
know
either.
some people say that as a cliche, but there are so many. That's why 20 years later, I'm still here. I'm always having a good time. But I'll tell you one from my travels in Drachenwald, which is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Germany area-ish. So it is my mundane self. I was backpacking some years ago, and I found the SCA group in Scotland, and they were like, you need to come out to an event. And they held it in a real castle, Edsel Castle in Edsel, Scotland. They had run of the entire castle.
Wow.
Most of it was in ruins, but still like usable, except for the garden, which was done in a 16th century manner and was kept up in that. So it was pristine.
Oh, wow.
So there were some gorgeous shots of walking through the 16th century garden in this ruin of a castle that we were playing in. Yeah, a little bit more of the magic, right?
Yeah.
And the feast was actually held off ground. We actually had to walk 2 blocks down the little town to the monastery or the abbey that we had rented for the feast. So
Wow.
and I was being a latecomer out of country and, you know, last minute joining. They were like, no, we'll figure it out so you can come. I basically ended up as a server.
Right.
So I got to hang out in the kitchen and then serve in like bread trenchers, period meal,
Wow.
set up in a freaking medieval abbey, and it was pretty amazing. And they had this, for the fighting the next day, they had this one game where everyone got to be involved. It was called the Castle of Love. So you're at the castle gates, all the female fighters and a couple of chosen male fighters are guarding the castle. Well,
Right.
all the non-fighting females, or those who were visiting and didn't have any armor, are on the upper catwalk with these bouquets of fake flowers.
Aw.
And then all the male fighters that were trying to get into the castle. So they're being fought off, and all of us up there with our flowers are whipping these flowers down at their heads. And there's marshals with these giant, like, looks like Q-tips, right? Like big poles, with the wads on the end. So if they got hit with a flower, the marshal could reach out and be like, bat, you. And if you got one, they had to go around the castle to the tower where the person who hit them with a flower got to stand. And they had to woo the lady, or there was a couple, until they were satisfied with the wooing and would let them go back to the fight.
Oh my, that sounds like a lot of fun.
That sounds like an epic tournament. You
It
could have a
was fun.
winner for best fight and winner for best wooing.
Right?
Yeah, and the queen at the time there, she had a wicked arm. She had like 3 of them lined up over the tower, and they're like, please, we just want to go back and fight. Like a couple of them. She's just like, but I'm not done with you yet.
Oh,
Yeah, and then they had the troubadours, like the minstrels playing all day, full garb, full medieval instruments. Like it was pretty amazing. And then they even had a vigil the one night I was there, and so they had set him up in the old fireplace in the 2nd story of the castle, in a full, like a true vigil. Like it was people lined up to come and, you know, give him words, and then they left him there for the night.
wow.
And he had to sit in vigil until the next day. So it was a really cool experience.
That's
I have to-
amazing. So everybody needs to go to Drachenwald is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sitting in an
You know,
old
and then the
drafty
next event
fireplace all
I,
night.
I won their Tablero tournament and outdrank them all. And
Nice.
yeah,
Good
fell
job.
asleep with my shoes on in the hall.
Oops.
One and the other, you know.
That happened.
Oh dear. Well, thank you so much for the stories and for being on our show, Castra.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have any final comments for our audience before we leave?
No, I miss y'all. Oh, please quit beating the crap out of each other online and just wait till you can see each other in person. You beat the crap out of each other then, just like we used to.
With proper safety equipment, just
With proper
put it out
safety
there.
equipment. No, honestly, I miss everyone and I miss everything, and I really hope this comes over soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that, but
No, that's fair. Thank you so much for everything here. We appreciate you, and it's so nice to see you.
Yeah, I love seeing you guys too.
Good night. Thank you, Scal, once again for being on the show. And this has been Mead with Griffin Eye News.
Bye, Scott.
Ah.